Now, I've been noticing people have been talking about my shirt. They said they like the shirt. You know what? I'm glad y'all like the shirt. You see this little samurai warrior dude over here.
Oh, yeah.
Got the little, writing over here. I don't know what it says because I don't happen to read that language. But what I do know is it is a part of Into the AM. They are our people. They are big supporters in just the creator community, man. And that's what we are over here, man. We are content creators and we like to keep our minds elevated all day, every day. And that is big for Into the AM. And yeah, man, they got all type of cool little graphic tees like this. They also have the basic tees like we see Deke in occasionally, or the hat. The hat is clutch.
The trucker hat's
Can't
nice.
go wrong with the trucker hat.
You see me wore the trucker hat, yes.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Into the AM, and they got some phenomenal stuff going on. And as we always tell you, promo code time. Now, this promo code is slightly different, but Moats 10, just Moats with 10, the numbers 10 on the end of it, will get you 10% off of all your purchases at Into the AM. And that also includes if you do the subscriptions where you can get 3 graphic tees sent to you monthly, or you can get your basic tees sent to you monthly in different packages that they have going on. But either way, shout out to the good people over at Into the AM, baby. Let's go. All right, we got to talk about TJ Watt. He just got named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week on the heels of his amazing performance against the Baltimore Ravens. And it sparked up a conversation, not just locally, but nationally as well, in terms of, should TJ Watt be receiving MVP consideration? And do we think he'll receive that type of consideration when it's ballot time, when it's voting time? Context on the MVP award. We don't see a lot of non-quarterbacks winning it. We don't see a lot of non-offensive players winning it or even getting recognition. I believe the last non-quarterback or non-offensive player to get recognition was Debo in 2008. I think he received 3 votes. I think that's what they said.
He had votes. That was the year he won Defensive Player of the Year.
He won.
When's the last time someone actually won it? Does anyone even know that?
They said it's been 2 guys. Lawrence Taylor won it, and it was a guy that did it, I think they said in the 60s. It was either the 60s. Jeez. It was either the 60s or the 50s. It was like a while ago.
Where's the respect for the defense?
Yeah. It's crazy. So that's the context of it. And now we've already heard plenty of times about Ben and Russell Wilson. Those are the 2 poster boys in terms of being elite players, Hall of Famers that have never received a Hall of Fame vote before. The MVP vote before as well. And the nature of how the voting works, we talked about this before, but just another reminder, refresher, is I believe it's 50 people that get to vote. It's a mix of, contributors, writers, beat writers, I think it's former players are in there somehow as well, but you only get 1 vote. So it's not like a ballot for Heisman where you can vote your top 5 or top 4. This is just, hey, we get 1 vote apiece and that's it. Think like a presidential election, right? So that also has played into this as well. So with the full context being what it is, do you think TJ Watt should be getting MVP votes or MVP consideration?
We got to see how the season plays out.
Okay.
I think Defensive Player of the Year, he's locked in. MVP, I just know how it works, man. Because you're right. 2 defensive players in all of NFL history have won the MVP award? James Harrison got a couple votes back in 2008. Right now, there isn't a clear-cut guy for MVP. I would say it is Tom Brady. He's the front runner. But the argument against him could be the whole super team element.
Right.
Not taking anything away from Tom Brady. And he's won a couple. So, there are... I think there is some veracity to that in terms of, voters and the human elements of just we've given Tom Brady a bunch of awards. Maybe we should look somewhere else. So, what TJ needs to do is he needs to break the sack record for sure. And it needs to be strip sacks. Kind of what he's been doing this year. Yeah. He needs to just continue that, break the sack record, which would be 15 games if he finishes the season out fully healthy. So that's 2 less games than the whole 17-game slate.
And
not saying he'll win,
but if you were to break the record in 15, that's 1 less game than what Strahan did as well. Yeah.
Okay, he played the full 16. Yeah. I think there's a case for TJ. I definitely think there's a case for TJ. Now, if the Bucs, here's the problem though. They seem like they're starting to hit their stride again. If Brady keeps going off and puts up these gaudy numbers, over 50 touchdowns or something.
Did he have 3 touchdowns this last game, 360 passing as well?
That's the thing. If the stats are just too gaudy for Brady, I could see them just giving it to him. But if the Bucks maybe lose a game or two down the stretch. So I think there's a couple elements that have to happen for him to get MVP votes. Now, I think no matter what Brady does, he would be deserving of votes and recognition for MVP. I just think we don't pay attention as much to the defensive side of the ball. That's just how it's always been, really.
It's unfortunate, but you're absolutely right that we don't pay attention to the defense side of the ball. And we have feelings, Deke. We got feelings. We matter. We got, care about us a little bit, man. So I have put up a poll in terms of if TJ Watt should get that MVP vote. Pass on the grammatical errors. I was kind of rushing when I typed that in. I was trying to be smooth while you was talking like that.
My bad.
Yeah. But for me, I would love for him to receive MVP consideration, but I share the same sentiment as you. I don't think it'll happen solely because a couple of things. The nature of the awards, very similar to the Heisman Trophy, right? It's one of those awards where it's a quarterback driven thing. Like, people just love to give these awards to quarterbacks. I mean, we've talked about even times when Antonio Brown, right, was going off and having crazy years. And it's like, you can get Offensive Player of the Year, but we're not looking at you as MVP. And you're just saying to yourself, well, how is that? Why can a guy just be so dominant regardless of his position that he can still be considered an MVP regardless of him not being a quarterback? But the reason I also don't think he's going to get that consideration is because even though it's called MVP, you might as well call it the most important player role, the most important player award, because any person would tell you, or in terms of players, it's a difference between the best player on the team and the most important player on the team. TJ Watt is the best player on the team. Most important player right now is still Ben Roethlisberger. It's still going to be the quarterback. I mean, 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 times out of 10, the quarterback is the most important player. And we've seen...
You bringing up AB is a perfect example because he was on pace for 2,000 yards that year. Ben's out for, what was it, 3, 4, 5 weeks, games, and his numbers weren't there with other quarterbacks.
And even though he was playing well, still, it was a distinct drop-off. And that's my thing. And I know people say, what about the Titans? Well, I think of the Titans pre-Ryan Tannehill and post-Ryan Tannehill, because Derrick Henry was the constant. Derrick Henry has been there throughout, but they are a very different team when Ryan Tannehill is their quarterback. It's just one of those things where quarterbacks, because of how often the ball is in their hands and their decision making, they will forever be the most important person on the team. Even game managing quarterbacks, it's like, man, y'all still so important. We just know you are limited here, here, and here. So you figured out a way to still be able to play at a high level in these areas while we minimize the negatives. And that's the part where it's like, I can't give TJ a vote knowing that part. And you say Brady, I'm with you. I think Brady's the front runner, but a lot of people still think Aaron Rodgers is the front runner or should be in that consideration. I personally think TJ is third. I have it as Brady 1 right now. I got Aaron Rodgers at 2, and then I got TJ Watt as the third best option for winning the MVP, or at least getting MVP votes.
Yeah. Now, what do you think if he does go off and break the sack record?
Now, this is, yes.
Because I do think up to this point, though, if you want to talk about importance, we've seen it because we watch every game. Correct. When he's not out there, we don't get the same amount of pressure. Raiders game, Derek Carr was looking like trash. Yeah. And then he goes out, second half, Derek Carr throws for 300 yards. We can't get any pressure on him. 100%. Same thing in the first Bengals game. He's not out there. It was him and Highsmith, but Burrow was sitting back there like it was nothing. The Bengals line wasn't really that good at the time. Yeah, so you bring up a good cause right here. He will... You want to talk about legitimate MVP chance? These last 5 games, right? I think it's 5 games remaining. If they all look like this Ravens game in terms of multiple sacks, in terms of turnovers, and we have to be winning, because that's the other part. Yeah, it helps us get in the playoffs.
Not just for MVP, but for Defensive Player of the Year as well. You look at the history of the award, they give it to the team, to the player that is on a team that is still winning. You can't be, 6 games, 6-10 down the stretch. They not doing that. I mean, you go back,
Chandler Jones,
right? You look at it's a prime example, right? He's never in consideration because for the longest time they've never been good. You look at when Donald was winning them, the Rams were really good. You look at when J.J. Watt was winning them, Texas were really good. You talk about when the year when Gilmore won it, the Patriots were really good. Like, that's just how it goes. And even in all those years, we could bring up a Xavier Howard who was having a phenomenal season, but their team was bad. We could talk about a Shaq Barrett the first year he was in Tampa. He balled out, but the team as a whole wasn't to that same level just yet. So those are some of the reasons when I look at it, I'm saying to myself, like, if TJ puts up those numbers and we're winning, now it's legit that he could potentially upset one of those guys for the MVP spot. But it would have to be that type of astronomical, that type of just out of this world level productivity. And I just don't know what are the odds of him having those type of games for the next 4 to 5 weeks and us winning on top of that.
I feel this the way about this the same way I feel about Kenny Pickett and Heisman, which we'll be getting to later. It's just that I feel like there's a case. I feel like there's a legitimate case, but I feel like that player, when you're talking about TJ or Kenny Pickett, they got to do the extra just because I know how the voting works.
That's 100%.
So I don't get too worked up about it. You know what I mean? I just have a feeling it's not going to happen. But I think it should. I think he should have legitimate be in the legitimate conversation there. And I know how important he is to the Steelers. So that's what really matters. As long as we're winning as a team, he gets the depoy. I guess that's it. Because the awards, they could be fleeting. They could be arbitrary a little bit. They help. They help for sure. They help for sure. I guess it would be different if Brady wasn't having as good of a year, even though I still don't think it is as clear cut.
Yeah. My issue is storylines as well. Like, we know they're going to love TJ's storyline, but TJ's storyline is still, I don't think is as impressive as Brady's. The
44-year-old guy.
With Brady, he has the best storyline to me because the 44, not just that, but a year ago when he first leaves Belichick, he wins Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. Then 2 years removed, he still has his team as the favorite and then goes and wins regular season MVP. You know, they are like, media is going to love that. National media, more importantly. And that's the type of stuff they like to run with. Even Rodgers' storyline of disgruntled. They wanted to get rid of him. They draft the young guy. His last go around, what does he do? He goes and then goes back-to-back MVPs on him. Like, that's the type of thing. Like, they want to pump that. Whereas for TJ, I think him for Defensive Player of the Year, definitely the heavy favorite. Also, because as we talked about with those awards, typically it's like, yo, you have a year or two where you should have won it and they kind of overlook you. Then they come back and give it to you that following or that third year in his case. Because these past 2 years, he's had a legitimate case for it, but he's been overlooked both of those times. And I just feel like right now for him, it's just his time. Even though I know Micah Parsons having an outstanding season as well, it's just TJ's time to get that award as long as he stays on pace. And that's
there's Micah. Yeah, there is Micah Parsons.
Yeah, Parsons going off.
Not even rookie of the year.
Yeah, he's going off because he's doing it at inside linebacker and as an edge rusher, and not just coming off the edge. Like, he's like a legit edge rusher when he goes down there. It's crazy watching him. Not that I watch a ton of Cowboys games. Y'all chill out.
That's your former flag.
But you know, every once in a while I call up the high school like, hey, babe, what's up? I missed you. You know what I mean? So that's now I'm playing. I just clarify that. I don't want no issues. All right, no issues. But that's, you know, with Parsons, I mean, he is doing some special stuff down there in Dallas. I just think that for a whole, it's going to be harder for him because of the hype surrounding TJ nationally now. Like, it's to that point.
And you're right. It's time. Yeah. It's time. It's been time.
It's long overdue, man. Long overdue. All right. Now we went, I did pull this up, man, asking the chat in terms of if they think TJ should receive MVP votes. And 152 people voted. A whopping 95% said, yeah, we think he should. But them 5%, I wish we could know who y'all were exactly, but we're going to let y'all slide today.
If the season ended right now, because I brought up the scenario, and we've talked about the scenario where he needs to keep this up for the next 5 games. He needs to beat the sack record. Now he should get seriously MVP consideration.
Yeah.
Should he right now? Like, if the season ended right now?
Should he get MVP consideration if the season ended today?
Well, you got him 3, so there might be a couple votes.
That's the consideration, but this is the issue, though. I have him considered as third best, but if I only get 1 vote,
right,
I'm not wasting that vote on TJ. Like, if I only get 1 vote, my 1 vote would go to Brady.
Not right now. Right. But if he keeps that up, though, that's the whole new information and where we could see how the rest of the season plays out.
So for you, today, right now, if you only get 1 vote,
I'd probably go Brady. I probably would. You're right. But I do think I'm thinking TJ now. Yeah. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, because I wonder this, because we said this with Ben, we said this with Russ, where they've had really good regular seasons, but it'd just be paired with a Mahomes going off or a Brady year or a Peyton Manning year, right? It's just bad timing. And I wonder with some of these voters, if they're I don't know the process of how do you remain credentialed and stuff like that, but if you go out here and this is a clear cut favorite, but you vote for this guy over here, if that could potentially, you know, alter, you know, how long you'll be able to vote in these type of things and stuff like that. I don't know the backstory, but
conspiracy behind the scenes.
in the sense of, think about this, right? If we feel like, hey, this is the bar, you need to at least be this competent to do this, and everybody else is showing that this is normal, and you over here, I'm gonna pick this guy this week, I'm gonna pick this guy this year because I kind of like his story a little bit more. I'm looking at you like, bro, you tripping, man. Go ahead, take his credentials. I don't know if it's like that. I really don't.
I hope not.
I hope not as well. But
I feel like that's taking away free thinking a little bit
to an extent. But how many times have we seen when they're coming to these voting where it's not a lot of free thinking? It's a lot of herd mentality. We all gonna vote with these guys right here because they play this position.
But that wouldn't affect the MVP vote for that season, right? If someone gets 49 votes and one vote goes to a random person, because like they didn't. Was it LeBron? What was it? Was it Steph Curry or LeBron? Someone didn't get unanimous.
Because it was like one random vote. Yeah. Yep.
And everyone was flipping out about it. It's like, all right, bro, he still won the MVP. Just chill out.
Yeah. And I don't think we're looking at anybody this year as a unanimous favorite for MVP.
No, not right now. Not right now. I do think Brady's a front runner, and he does have potential if he continues on this pace to put up some really gaudy numbers. So that would kind of cement him as the MVP this season. But if he could drop off a little bit, TJ goes off. There's a scenario where he should not only get serious consideration, but maybe win it. Maybe sneak out the win. He has to do extra. I mean, Brady has to drop off a little bit.
I just don't see it happening, bro. In today's NFL, I personally don't. You think about how dominant Aaron Donald had been, or he's still like during his time, even JJ Watt during his time. And those guys weren't even getting consideration.